Is this Sunday, New York Jets versus New England, a must-win for the New York Jets? Is this a game they have to win in order for there to be a season, in order for there to be a playoff berth for the New York Jets? We're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about a lot of other things when we get back. So hang in there. Thanks for being here, and I'll be right back to talk about that after this.
We are live. We got Harry W. We got Richie from Jets Media, Matt O'Leary, Iowa Jets fan, we're in the house. We got Dom C in the house. We got Steve, live, CEO of the Jet Lounge. So I knew I'd get rich on my channel. See what's going on. Yeah, there we go. Woo.
Jets by $1 million today.
Yeah.
The deal is that I'm frozen, right? You could barely hear me. So let me know how bad it is in there, and I'll try to reboot if it's really that bad. But what's going on is I know a lot of people are thinking, oh, how could it be a must-win? It's only game 3. Well, let me explain. It's a must-win because I sneeze. That's why it's a must-win, because I like sneezing. No, it's a must-win because, or it might be a must-win simply because are we going to be able to recover if we lose this game, or is it going to be a downward spiral? When you look at the schedule, after New England is Denver, but then it's Philly, Kansas City, and Philly. It's deadly. And New England is a team, we're at home. We haven't beaten them in years. We're much better than they are. We are. From a talent perspective, we're better. So what does it tell us if we lose to them? It tells us that we don't have a good coaching staff. We're not prepared. We're not a prepared football team. Because when you look at one team and one team has more talent than the other and they lose, and it's something predictable and happens over and over again, at some point you have to realize it's our coaching. That's the problem. Their systems, their schemes, whatever it is, it's not working for these players. Now, I don't know that we're going to lose, but I'm more worried than I thought I would be. Obviously, going into the season, we thought we were going to have Aaron Rodgers, and I said this is finally going to be the year we crush New England. But it didn't turn out that way. But even with Zack Wilson, if we would have been competitive against the Cowboys and made it a real game, I would have still been confident against New England. But after the showing we saw and the way the offensive line was, I just don't know. And if we lose that game, I think it might be the beginning of an avalanche. You'll let me know how you think. Billy SBC is in the chat. What's going on? He was first. Harlan Aberson is in the chat. Matthias Simon, the longtime legendary online, all the way back from the day guy that knew Green Bean, is here. He very popular guy on Facebook groups, runs a group. I think I'm a member of it. It's pretty good stuff. You should check it out. Jets mess. What's going on? I haven't been much snacky lately because I'm on a diet. So what can I do? DeBoer 2730. What's going on? Bless you too, man. Because I sneezed. Tony Alexia, what's going on? Good to see you, buddy. So yeah, I mean, by the way, if you're wondering where Nick is, he'll be here a little bit later. We might have some other guests too. Right now, I'm on my own running solo, which means I might give an opportunity for someone to join if you would like. So every once in a while, I'll throw the link in the chat. And if you want to join in and say something or make any comments, let me know. So there it is right now, just to start. But be aware, once Nick gets here, we're going to go on with our normal programming. Just to get mess. We will start the season 1-5 and then win 4 games this year. Well, that wouldn't be a good thing, Mess. We're turning pretty negative pretty fast. But if we lose the game to New England, I might not be so confident that you're wrong. I think it really would. So when I ask the question, is it a must win? What I'm talking about is obviously we know mathematically it's not a must win. We could lose the game and still go, 15-2? But let's be realistic. If we can't beat New England at home, it's going to fall apart pretty fast. And I think we have to know that as Jet fans because we've seen it so much, right? We've seen it with our own eyes. We've lived it too many times to believe it's going to be any other outcome. I feel the same way. I'd be nervous for the state of the locker room if they lose, especially if they look bad. Yeah. If we look bad again, like if Zack has a horrendous day with multiple turnovers and we just lose convincingly to the New England Patriots, it's over, guys. It's over. And we're going to be literally counting down the weeks and just talking about next year when Aaron Rodgers comes back. And you know what? If we suck it up and only win 5 or 6 games this year, even with Aaron Rodgers, I don't believe we're a Super Bowl team. It means that we need to start over. We need to reboot. With Aaron Rodgers, the young core, when I say that, it would mean if we win 5 or 6 games this year, we need to get rid of Salah. We need to explain to Aaron Rodgers, I'm sorry, I know you like these guys, but they're out of here. We need some professionals who know how to run a football team. I hope Salah proves me wrong. I hope he wins. I hope we start a big winning streak and we put all this crap behind us. But for right now, I have doubts. I have doubts because it doesn't seem like a smart football team to me. Any football team that chooses to run behind Laken Tomlinson and Dwayne Brown as opposed to Becton and AVT, and any team that prefers to put in CJ Uzomah over Jeremy Ruckert after what we've seen, I don't trust that organization. I don't trust their judgment. I don't understand their judgment. I think it's very poor judgment. I think specifically also when you look at the wide receiver use, there's just too many oddities. There's too many things that don't make sense. I'd say the biggest thing that doesn't make sense, obviously, is why would you run to your weaker side? It doesn't make any sense. AntJets82 says, good evening. Hope everyone is doing well. Well, we hope you're doing well, AntJets82. It's good to see you here. Again, as always. And then this is a lie. He's not fired. Besides, if I fired him, it wouldn't be me firing him. It would be me ghosting him. So that's the difference. Because as Green Bean or others might tell you, I'm a coward and afraid of confrontation. So really what it would be is Nick would call me and there'd be no answer. He would text me and it would say, this subscriber doesn't accept texts from this number. And then when he goes on to here, he'd find himself blocked. When he tries to log on to the StreamYard that he shares with me, he would find himself like the password is changed. There'd be a whole bunch of things happening in Nick's life that wouldn't make any sense. It's called being ghosted. And that's how it would look. And boy, what a conversation that would be if he ever found me at a game in the parking lot. I mean, what is he going to do? Catch me? I don't think he's going to catch me. Although his son is pretty fast, and he might be able to like quickly grab hold of me and hold me steady. So I can't be that confident. Why don't coaches know how to power assist when they see weaknesses in their line during a game? It's a good question. It's a good question. I don't like his excuse about Micah Parsons moving around a lot. What does it have to do with the fact that Dwayne Brown couldn't block and needed help, regardless of who was lining up there? Like, what does it have to do with it? The point was we needed Jeremy Ruckert on that side or a tight end on that side, chip blocking or even blocking and doing whatever it took because Dwayne Brown was like an invisible man. He was barely there. He was a shell of a man. Shell of a man. I think there's a lot of college players who could have been just as good. Guys out of college right now, current college players, left tackles that we could have inserted in there, and we wouldn't have been any worse. I mean, he really hard to be any worse than Dwayne Brown was. He was really just a shell, a turnstile. He really was just a guy that they had to run around. He was just a guy in their way. Get out of my way, young man. That's what he was. It's a horrible liability. That's why I think we could lose to New England because we're not just underperforming or not doing great as an offensive line. No. We're not an NFL offensive line right now. That's why you can't look at Zach. You can't judge anything because we don't have an offensive line. It's like beyond putrid. We have a man on that line, an offensive tackle that is incapable of doing a thing. And we also have a right guard that's horrendous, left guard that's horrendously bad. And we have a center who probably played the worst game of his career against Dallas. So, wait, both those things happened today. I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't ghost you. I spoke to you on the phone. Hello, Jet fans, and our host, Egghead McRed. I always get these new nicknames. It's funny. Billy says, I put this on the coaches. So do I. You got to put it on the coaches. There's too much talent on this team at this point to not put it on the coaches. If you can't coach this band of players to respectability, forget about Super Bowl, respectability, there's something wrong with the coaches. Every other team that doesn't have a great quarterback or gets stuck with their second-string quarterback playing finds a way. I'm not saying they're as good as when they have their starter in, but they find a way not to look like a college football team. They find a way to have it not look like Alabama versus West Kentucky. So something has got to give. I mean, and I'm sorry to hear, oh, well, they can't fire Salah even if he's horrible this year because Rodgers. No, I don't care. I don't care. We're not going to have a quarterback dictate what we do. If Robert Salah has got a coach for his job right now, to me, anything under 9 wins is unacceptable. Unacceptable. And that's just the reality. If Zach sucks this week, Jets should ghost him. I'm telling you, it's right now. It's almost impossible to judge. It's almost impossible to judge Zack Wilson because we don't know what any quarterback would look like behind that offensive line. Remember Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl against Tampa Bay? He was awful. It's because he wasn't really awful. It was because his offensive line got dominated and they couldn't. And Tampa Bay's defensive line dominated the game. So until Zack Wilson has an offensive line that could at least be somewhat respectable, I really can't judge him. I mean, at what point is he going to just get an offensive line? I mean, just that blocks? That is just an NFL offensive line and not this putrid, just disgusting mess that we're sending out there. No offense, Jets mess. The Jets are the only team I've seen handicap themselves game in and game out, season after season. They refuse to play the strengths, and it's cost them so many games over the years. Yeah. I mean, look, I'm not saying we would have won the game, but how many times do we have to sit there and watch our team run the ball on 3rd and 15? How many times do we have to watch that? We believe in Zack Wilson. He's gotten better. We believe in him. But yet we're going to have a game plan that says we absolutely do not believe in our quarterback. And when does he get to throw the ball and open it up? When he has to press, when we're rushed for time, when they know we're going to pass. And then he throws interceptions and it fucks with his confidence. And there we are. Half of this is spilling on me. It's why I hate freaking bottled water. I mean, like these special things. But this has my name on it. So, I mean, what am I supposed to do? So, and look, it has the Cravat Attack logo. Oh, wait a second. For my channel, Brooklyn Brothers Food Review. Anyway, yeah, we really just undermine ourselves constantly with personnel decisions, with game plans. I mean, you'd almost believe it was rigged. This organization is rigged, because it believes like a story that doesn't even seem believable. It's like when every single fan knows that the right side of the offensive line is more powerful and a better run blocking than the left side, and you don't even give them a chance. You don't run behind them, really. And then you can't. I mean, Randall Cobb is our WR3, guys. We picked up McCole Hardman, but Randall Cobb. What is that? Oh, locker room? What is it? What are their standards of who they start? Because I don't know of any NFL team in the NFL that would be starting Randall Cobb over McCole Hardman. And if they were winning, I would keep my mouth shut. But you know what? They're not winning. He's 12-24. Robert Salah, wake up. You don't get forever. Your job is not permanent. How stupid are you going to feel having to explain to your family, well, I was fired because, and then we're going to do it the next job, you're going to go in? And that's the stupid thing. Some other team will get the better Robert Salah because he comes in. No one's stupid enough to do it twice. He'll go into some other team and he'll realize I was totally wrong. I was too stubborn and too arrogant to admit I was wrong while I was the Jets coach. And now I'm going to pretend that I'm not any different, even though all of the best players will start for that other team he coaches. And all of these spots and the roster spots, and there will be competition in camp where he just plays the best players. And then he'll be for real because it costs him this job. But the problem for us is it'll already be too late. Or is someone going to wake his ass up? I mean, there's no way that Joe Douglas is also that ignorant. I mean, somebody has to pick up the phone. I don't care if it's Woody Johnson, if it's Joe Douglas. We all know as fans what Robert Salah is doing wrong. Maybe it's Middleton from the locker room that walks into his office. But somebody's got to explain to this guy that putting your best players out there means putting your best players out there. It means you don't look at salary and you don't look at years of experience. You just simply put the players that are the best players out there. It's really simple. And if we all know that Jeremy Ruckert is better than CJ Uzomah, why doesn't he? We have to worry about our coach's judgment. Like, is he competent? I don't know. Okay. Jeremy, you're all of a sudden, how come Douglas gets a free pass? Because Joe Douglas is the best GM we've ever had. Joe Douglas gets a free pass because this is not his fault. Joe Douglas has done nothing but put together the best team we've ever had as far as young stars. The NFL is about stars. That's why Miami went out and gave the world for Hill. And they're not regretting it, are they? He's amazing. The NFL is about stars. JD has drafted or found more stars than we've ever had in my 40 years of being a Jet fan. Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, AVT, Breece Hall. Quinnen doesn't count, right? Because he was already on the team. Signing Reed. Jeremy Ruckert, who's by the way, if they give him a chance, is a freaking unstoppable blocking tight end. But he never gets the chance. Tippmann, if he was playing, you'd see, is going to be an incredible all-pro center or all-pro inside interior lineman. Becton, who when healthy, against what everybody wants to yell and scream, when healthy, clearly one of the best tackles in the NFL. The only good tackle we have on the team right now. Joe Douglas is the one good thing about the Jets. But no GM is perfect. So the question is does he realize he made a mistake with Robert Salah? Or does he not? But I'd rather have Joe Douglas stay and find a new head coach if this keeps up than we lose Joe Douglas, because the Jets, maybe other teams could move on from a Joe Douglas. But if you know our history, we can't move on from him. Our GMs have been a catastrophe. We've had some of the worst GMs in the history of the NFL. This team is not able to find quality GMs. Joe Douglas is a blessing. Joe Douglas is like a savior for us because finally this is the first time we've ever had a GM be able to draft multiple stars at the same time. We are building what it takes to build a championship team. We have what it takes because one of the key things, one of the ingredients is you can't buy all your stars. You can't trade for all your stars because then you're giving away all the other capital and they cost too much and you don't have enough salary cap to play other players. The formula to have a great team starts with drafting. You have to start with a handful of stars. For the first time, we really have that. We have superstars, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, AVT, Sauce Gardner, Will McDonald, Joe Tippmann. Like, we're putting in real guys. Real guys, Jermaine Johnson, real guys. Get rid of Joe Douglas. No, Joe Douglas gets a pass. I'm sorry. Joe Douglas gets a pass. The only way he loses that pass is if he stays with Robert Salah too long. Then I'll start getting on his case. but he'll get multiple chances to keep his job. I would not, if I was Woody Johnson, be looking to send packing the only great GM we've ever had. I mean, we had a GM that was good enough or was able to get Parcells onto our team and our organization, right? Well, I mean, Parcells, when he came in, that was Parcells. But since then, what have we had? We had a decent guy build a team that Rex Ryan took over and then was no longer able to build a team around. And then it's been garbage ever since. We've done everything we can. So I don't know what to tell you. We might not have the luxury of other teams. We've never had this. We've never had a guy that made our drafts not embarrassing. We've never had a guy that's able to manage the salary cap well and not put us in dead cap hell. We've never had this. So we cannot lose Joe Douglas. He's probably the most important person in our organization. But we could, and I'm not saying fire Robert Salah. I'm saying it's time to question him. I'm saying it's time to hold him accountable. I'm saying that the honeymoon is over. That's all I'm saying. The honeymoon is over. The last 2 years there was reasons. The first year, it was a new team, completely scraped down into the bottom and rebuilt. The second year, we were barraged with injuries, but we took a major step forward in establishing a great defense. And it was like, okay, and we improved in wins, that's fine. And I understand that Rodgers is out. The expectations have changed. I understand that I am no longer assuming or expecting Robert Salah to lead this team to a Super Bowl championship. I understand. It's almost impossible to do without a quarterback. I get it. But we should make the playoffs. And if we don't make the playoffs, it should at least be with our best players on the field. And right now, our best players are not on the field. They're not getting the reps they should be getting. And more importantly, the game plan sucks. The game plan is trash. The game plan was so poor last week. It's unimaginable how bad it was. When I'm never a coach in my life, and I know that I could have put together a better plan. And I'm not talking about the plan of, I'm not even blaming Hackett really, because the worst part was the execution. But if you want to improve the execution of the plays, then put the better players in that are able to execute those plays. And that's what we failed to do. Because when you have Brown in there at left tackle and not Becton, and when you have Laken Tomlinson in there or Connor McGovern, the combination of them in there with no Tippmann, you're not putting your best foot forward, and that's just not acceptable. Why do you keep a quarterback that you don't believe in? Yeah, well, that's I don't know. It's a good question. Like, either back up what you're saying and believe in him and let him play the position, or don't stop pretending you believe in him. Because, I just want to see Zack Wilson get to play like a normal quarterback, like Howell and like Pickett. I want to see him just get a chance to play the position as a normal offense. Not these little dump off things. No. If we lose, we lose. Fine. Then we know what we got. But let him play. He's staying in the pocket now. He earned the right now to be treated like an adult. Look, we can all see it. If you can't see it, I don't know what to tell you. But I promise you, and ask anybody who's watched football if you don't know a lot about it. But if you watch, the difference between Zack Wilson his first 2 years and this year, and I'm sure you know this, my holy king, is that he's actually, that sounds funny to say. Thank you, my holy king. What we've noticed and what we could see is that has definitely changed about Zack Wilson is he is sitting in the pocket now, going through progressions. He's doing it. So now what we have to see is if we give him just an average offensive line, an ability to get into a rhythm with an offensive line that's not ridiculously bad, and then allow him to throw downfield like any other quarterback. And if he sucks, then we know. And if all of a sudden he's a lot better than he ever was and he's improving, then we have hope. But we can't just play this game we can't go in with this handicap where it's in the game plan that we have this handicap, that we're literally coaching the game and playing a game as if we have this quarterback we don't trust. And we're not going to allow him to succeed. And we're going to play him as like we're playing like a third or fourth string quarterback or a guy we just picked up the other day from the practice squad. We can't do that. Right now, they haven't picked anyone else up. Clearly, the plan is that Zack Wilson's our quarterback this season. And unless we're tanking, if we're trying to make the playoffs, at some point we have to acknowledge he's a quarterback and we have to allow him to play like one and not have his hands put in handcuffs. So I agree. And if you don't believe in him, then move on and find someone you believe in. And if you don't believe in him, why was he our backup quarterback? What's everybody? Sean McAteer, Guardian of Temecula, says, what's up, everybody? I feel we can still beat New England. Yeah, of course. We did better than the Giants did. Keep the hope alive. Yeah, look, we definitely could beat New England. What you're seeing from me, this energy, is not anger of a season lost. It's anger of a season in jeopardy. Because, yes, we could beat New England, but if we don't, we're freaking dead. If we don't, we are dead. I promise you. It'll be so hard to recover from it. Okay, maybe we go in and beat Denver and we're 2-2, right? Let's say that happens. Then we're, what, 2-4? 2-4 with no Aaron Rodgers? Suddenly the team's going to go on a tear when we couldn't beat New England at home? New England's not a good team, guys. They're going to lose. They're going to win 5 or 6 games this year. Maybe 7. Maybe. I don't even know. They're not a good team. They're not good. Since Brady left, the team is under 500, and they've gotten worse each year. They've declined each year. They're on a negative thing. No one wants to believe it. Oh, no, Belichick, this, that. They're on a negative decline. They're on a decline. They lost Brady. They made the playoffs and got crushed by Buffalo. Then the next year they didn't make the playoffs. So they didn't make the playoffs. Then they made the playoffs, and then they didn't make the playoffs. But they've gotten worse each year. The first year with Mac Jones wasn't bad. I don't know what happened, but they got crushed in the playoffs. So it didn't matter because in the playoffs it showed that they didn't have the talent. And then last year, what were they? Last year, if we would have had anyone at quarterback, any quarterback other than Zack Wilson played that game, anyone at any level, and we win that game. How could we lose? I mean, it was 3-3. We lost by a punt return. He had the yips. He had the worst game of his career. He completely fell apart. But there's no way. I mean, they're not a good team. There's no way. Every NFL team is hard to beat. I agree with that. Wins in the NFL are tough. But if comparatively to other teams, if you can't beat New England in the home, you are not a playoff team. And there's so much on the line, then, I mean, and I know that teams change over the season, but what kind of change are we going to see in our team? What kind of change is there going to be? That's going to allow us to bounce back from that. I don't see it. I know it's possible, but I don't see it. And it might just be a must-win for a freaking sanity. Right. But Rodgers is not playing, so why is Cobb playing? Why is this WR6 camp wide receiver veteran maybe to help the other players learn the system in the game from consecutive multiple lots of snaps? It makes no sense. He's slow. He's slow. He can't create space. We have a speedy McCall Hardman right behind him that offers so much more. Doesn't make any sense. Makes no sense. Don't understand it. They're going to put 9 guys in the box, and they're going to dare us to throw the ball. That's what they're going to do. I know what they're going to do. You know what they're going to do. We know what they're going to do. He's going to put 8 or 9 guys in the box, and he's going to go cover on our receivers. That's exactly what he's going to do. Even though it's Garrett Wilson, he doesn't care. He's going to put his rookie on him. Gonzalez, he's going to put his rookie on him and say, just control him. Just contain him. He could get his 80 yards, his 5 or 6 receptions. Just don't let him go crazy. And he's going to dare Zack Wilson to beat him. He's going to say, we're not going to let you run the ball. We're going to stack the box. We're not going to let you screen. We're not going to let you have any short game. Right? So the only possible way that we're going to beat this team is if we accept the challenge and Zack Wilson stays in the pocket. Our offensive line decides to show up, decides that it's time to start playing football, give him some time, and that Zack Wilson doesn't get the yips, doesn't fall apart, keeps his cool, keeps his calm, and throws and passes and plays well. He's going to have one-on-one coverages. If we give him time, he's going to have Lazard. He's going to have Garrett Wilson. He's going to have his tight ends can sneak out. He's going to have one-on-one coverage out there. If we go 11 personnel, he's going to have 3 receivers out there running routes, one-on-one coverage. Think about that, one-on-one. No help from safeties. They're all going to be stacking the box. That's what Belichick is saying. Try to beat us that way. We're giving it to you. Prove to us that you can do it. And if Zack Wilson could do it, knowing what the game plan is, block like freaking crazy for him, play like it's the Super Bowl, it's the last game of your life if you're on the offensive line, block, protect him, and allow him to take advantage of a giant target in Lazard and one of the most phenomenal wide receivers in the NFL in Garrett Wilson. And as soon as we start making them bleed, as soon as we draw their blood, if we do that, if we complete deep passes, if we allow Hardman to come in the game instead of Cobb and go deep and rip that freaking defense a new asshole by ripping past them, then they have to pull guys out of the box, right? They're not going to sit there and let us just keep doing it. At some point, Belichick's going to say, well, we dared him, and he called our bluff. He's doing it. He's blocking our players, right? So what is he going to do? Because they're not the Jets. New England makes adjustments. They're going to make adjustments, and they're going to switch. And now they're going to be pulling guys back. They're going to do what they did against Miami. Because they didn't play bad against Miami. Miami won, but they didn't play bad. They're going to do what they did. They're going to say, oh, we can't stop Garrett Wilson. We're stacking the box, and he's killing us. Zack Wilson's able to get him the ball. They're going to say, let's do what we did to slow down Tyreek Hill and Waddle. Now he's going to start pulling people back to give support to coverage and take our receivers out of the game. And that's when we adjust. And we start giving the ball to Breece Hall and do what Miami was doing to New England all day. Because they were trying to take Tyreek Hill out of the game, what did the Miami Dolphins do? They didn't run inside the tackles because they knew that was a strength. They ran outside the tackles, and they looked great doing it. Mustard looked great. The Miami running backs looked great. They ran right through them because New England had to pick a poison. Belichick said, I'm going to stop Tyreek Hill. I'm not going to let them crush us in the air like they did the Chargers. And it worked to an extent. He kept the game close for a while, right? And that's the best he can do with that squad because he doesn't have the talent. That's the best he could do. Keep the game close, hope for turnovers, hope for a momentum change, hope something goes his way. It didn't happen. Miami, smartly, because they have a very intelligent head coach, understood what was happening, and he ran the ball. And he ran the ball outside the tackles, which is exactly what the right strategy against the New England Patriots were in that situation. We're not going to be able to do that, guys. We're not going to be able to run the ball outside the tackles because they're going to stack the box. The only way we're going to set up that run and the only way that run is going to work is if Zack Wilson steps up and makes big passes. If Zack Wilson could lead us down the field or hit some big plays downfield, then we have a chance that we could start running the ball, and then we become like a normal opponent that Belichick could no longer play one way. Then we could tell him, stack the box, we'll pass against you. Defend the pass, we'll run against you. You're going to have to balance your defense like a regular defense, and then we're going to have some passing success and some running success, and you have a chance to get some running stops, and it becomes more of a normal game as opposed to us looking like fools because we're trying to run the ball and we're getting 1 yard a carry because they got 8-9 guys in the box. Can Breece Hall flip that a little bit? Maybe. Maybe he could flip the narrative a little bit, but man, it's really hard when they stack the box and they dare you to run and you run to get anything done. You have to establish the pass. You have to. I see some comments here, but it's from a long time ago, so I'll try to move forward. I just like being agreed with, so I'll post this from Dbor. He's not been perfect, but no GM has, and that's true. What GM has been perfect? None. He has taken us from the depth of hell and made us into a contender. He deserves to be here. Yeah, he definitely deserves to be here. I'm not saying that Joe Douglas is beyond criticism. Like, I acknowledge his mistakes, and I will criticize him if he keeps Salah around, if Salah doesn't improve and start using the personnel correctly and doesn't get these players to play. But it's hard to criticize and for me to be attacking Joe Douglas when he took the most disgusting, hopeless roster of 2020. When we lost Adam Gase in 2020, we were a garbage dump. There's literally no one left from that team except Quinnen Williams. Literally. There's literally nobody left. It was a massacre. When Joe Douglas got the steering wheel, the reins, 100% his, and Adam Gase was gone, and the owners gave him full control of the team. That was the end of the 2020 season. That's when this rebuild started. I don't care about anything that happened before that. At that time, the only players we had hope for was Bryce Hall. Is he relevant now on this team? Not really. We had Denzel Mims. Is he relevant? Not really. No, he's gone. Marcus May. Is he relevant? No, gone. Becton. He's relevant now, but was he relevant for the last 2 years? No. That's it. After that, it's slim pickings. And in 3 years, just 2 years ago, the second season after he sliced that roster up, got rid of Jamal, let Marcus May go. I mean, like, literally right when he sliced that roster down to nothing, by the second year, we were 7-4, and if we stayed healthy, had a chance to make the playoffs. That's a good GM. That's why I don't criticize him. I don't criticize him because I don't expect every move for him to work, and I don't expect every draft pick for him to make to succeed, because you can't name a GM that you can't do that with. Let's pick any GM in the league and look at all their draft picks and all their free agent signings, and I guarantee you there's plenty of mistakes. Plenty. But find another GM that turns a team and a roster around that fast. How does somebody create a roster that Aaron Rodgers says, I want to go play for them because I believe they can win, I can win a Super Bowl with them? When 2.5 years before that, we were nothing. We had nobody. We had one guy, Quinnen Williams. He's the only one left that's relevant. And now Becton. 2 players. One on each side for the defensive line. That's the only relevant thing left from the 2020 team. Everything else was built by Joe Douglas. Everything. Did he mess up the quarterback pick? No. You know why he didn't mess up the quarterback pick? I mean, yeah, it didn't work out. But it's what every smart GM would have done at that time with the information they had. And what are we going to scream? That he didn't take Mac Jones? Like that would have worked out? What, that he didn't take Justin Fields? Well, we would have had a better running quarterback, but is Chicago going to ever do anything with a guy who can run the ball but can't pass? He's not as good a passer as Vic. He's not as good as, obviously, as Lamar Jackson. I don't even think he's as good as Kyle Murray as a passing quarterback. So what is he going to do? Like, what is he going to do? What is Justin Fields going to do? Is he? Are we still if everybody says, oh well, he's still developing. Well, I mean, if he was a Jet, it's year 3. Would we still be making excuses for him as a passing quarterback? We wouldn't. Now, is he better? He might be more effective and give us a better chance to win games because he's a freaking stud football player as far as being a running back and athlete. And should he be in the NFL? There's got to be a way to utilize a guy like that because he's a rare talent. But he cannot stay in the pocket and pass at an NFL level. And that's not to say he hasn't made some amazing passes. He has. But Zach has made some amazing passes. Doesn't mean anything. Because quarterbacking is about consistency. And neither Zack Wilson or Justin Fields. So what I'm saying is there was nobody out of that draft. There was really no one we could have picked. People could argue we could. I love now that the Sam Darnold truthers are coming back. Well, you could have traded and made the team better. Well, first of all, we could have traded back and made the team better and kept Sam Darnold, right? But we did make the team better anyway. We got Sauce Gardner, Jermaine Johnson, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson. We got it anyway. We did make the team better. And the other thing is, what has Sam Darnold done? Couldn't remain the starter in Carolina. He couldn't beat out a bunch of hacks. And then he's in San Francisco as the backup quarterback. He couldn't beat out Bubble Boy. Not that Purdy hasn't been very good, but this is a guy that was a 7th round last pick of the draft pick a year ago. And he's a better quarterback. He's playing above Darnold. So what does that tell you? There was nothing we could have done to save ourselves from him looking bad. Any decision he made, we'd be looking back at right now and saying that Joe Douglas blew the quarterback pick. If he would have kept Sam Darnold, and then it would have been the same result. We would have been 4-13 or whatever. And Sam Darnold stunk like Zach because he had no offensive line. It wasn't going to be any better. And then last year, what was he going to do when everybody got hurt and they were stacking the box? And he had no offensive line. When have you seen Sam Darnold play without an offensive line? So there was nothing Joe Douglas could have done. His biggest thing would be offensive line, right? I mean, I'm saying it right now, but it's hard to question the moves he did. He went out and he got AVT. That was the right move. He got Becton. That was the right move. Yes, it was, because there was no way he knew someone was going to roll on the guy's knee. And the guy's looking damn good right now. Do I wish we would have taken the kids that went to Kansas City? Sure. But I don't hold that against JD. There was no way at the time nobody was complaining during Becton's rookie year when he was amazing. Nobody complained. He gets hurt. Now everybody's complaining. Give me a break. Right? We all thought Dwayne Brown was fine if he was healthy. Now all of a sudden we're all saying, why did we take this 38-year-old fossil, 39-year-old fossil? Well, nobody was against it before he came in and sucked up. Nobody was against him. Who was against signing Laken Tomlinson? Who was going to know? He was my number one target. I was crying with joy when they signed Tomlinson. How can I blame JD for that? How is he going to know that an all-pro offensive guard who's still in his prime was suddenly going to forget how to play football once she gave him a lot of money? There was no way to know. So, no, I'm not going to attack Joe Douglas yet. And I say because there is one thing Joe Douglas can do to make me say, and it would break my heart to make me say, I don't know if we can go with him. And that one thing is if Joe Douglas refuses to fire Salah after he continues to suck. If he continues to suck or not step in and do something. Like, there's nothing that we can do. Jets fan 4, can you come in here right now? I kind of need a favor, so let me try this again. I don't know if you're free, Jets fan 4, but if you can get your ass in here, that would be really helpful. How many people do that? How many people ask their viewers to come into their stream? How often does that happen? Daniel, you want to come in here? How about if I have a Miami Dolphin fan? You know, Daniel, the Patriots are better than you think. You're saying that they're better than I think. I'm not saying that they're horrible, don't have any talent. But the New England Patriots are not better than the Jets outside of coaching. Like, you cannot compare our rosters and say that New England's better. You can't. It's not even close. It's not even close. What wide receivers do they have that compares to Garrett Wilson? Who's their number 2 receiver that compares to Lazard? What running back do they have that compares with Breece Hall? What number 2 running back do they have that compares to Dalvin Cook? Who are their tight ends that are so much better than freaking Jeremy Ruckert and Tyler Conklin? Like, where are these guys? Is Mac Jones that good? Really? I don't think he's any better than Zack Wilson, to be honest with you. You want to compare defenses? You want to compare their rookie cornerback to Sauce Gardner? You want to compare their other cornerback to freaking DJ Reed? You want to compare defensive lines? Because we can go with that all day. Like, so I'm not saying they don't have some good talent. They do. That guy Judon is awesome. And we do need one of our defenders to step up and be dominant. Like, other than Quinton Williams. Like, we do need somebody to step up. Like Jermaine Johnson, who almost had 2 sacks. He almost had a second sack, which would have been on pace of 1 a game. So maybe it will be Jermaine Johnson. But we need somebody to step up and be dominant. It's true. That's what we're missing. We have a lot of great players, but we don't have a dominant defensive lineman that does what Micah Parsons does, or Judon does, or Milano does. These other guys have the guy. We need that. We need the guy. We don't have the guy yet, and that's a problem. Jets Fan 4, where are you, buddy? You can't come in? Anybody? I'm putting the link. Is there anybody a good talker that can, for 5 minutes, talk? McAteer, anybody out there? I keep putting the link in. If you have the link, please hit it. Please get your butt in here. Belichick coaches to win. Salah doesn't do the adjustments. Yeah, well, that's my fear. Because if we lose to New England, it will be because of coaching. Because that's the area where New England has the advantage. Right? Because right now we've done nothing to prove that we can be competitive coach versus coach when it comes to comparing Robert Salah to Belichick. What's up? Joe Campione is here. Yeah, well, I mean, Sam Darnold, Joe, is like Zack Wilson has the same exact excuse. Zack Wilson how has Zack Wilson had it any better than Sam Darnold had it? Our offensive line hasn't played well for him. The guy's been on, and he's played for a team where he's surrounded by injuries. What support has Zack Wilson had? And I'm not clearing Zack Wilson. He hasn't played well. I'm not claiming that he has. But if you look at the reality is, if you look at Zack Wilson, because everybody's saying if we had better players around, like if we had better players around Sam Darnold, we'd be better. He didn't get any support. Why aren't we saying the same thing for Zack Wilson? What if we would have given Zack Wilson an offensive line? Like, what if we gave him protection? Like, isn't it the same excuse? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. How did Zack Wilson have it any better? So, anyway, Tony Alexio, are you really? Are you going to make your first appearance ever? I love
Chaos. Chaos, you were the best YouTuber that got to the root of the Jets problem. Yesterday's rant, and you're doing part 2 tonight. You chisel down to the root of the Jets problem. I mean, just calling out Salah cannot. He's a cheerleader. He's not a coach. You know, he stands on his. You know, like with my super chat I just put in, you see pressure going on to Rodgers, the pride and joy of Jets accusation, not accusation, you know, who they acquired. The pride and joy. We were heading for the Super Bowl. You see the guy coming in, and you keep him out there. You don't give no help, no assistance at all. Got mauled because he didn't make no adjustments. The man doesn't make adjustments.
Right.
Adjustments in the beginning when I was saying the screen's going to kill us. The screen's going to kill us. They don't stop the screen. What does Olbrich do? He doesn't send in blitzes. He sends in blitzes on screen passes. We need the extra person to stop the screen. I mean, it's just stupid stuff. I can't believe this stuff. I'm sorry for ranting, but it's just too. I mean, I'm sorry. The thing, you know, maybe I'm going too far out, but you saw on the first 4 series, how many times did he get hit? Twice before he got mauled, before he got hurt, and he didn't send nobody to protect him. I mean, it's too early to say, all right, throw him out. He's coming back, but at least send someone over to help Aaron Rodgers.
So Tony,
the guy just got molested.
I have to run downstairs. That's why I needed somebody in here. I want you to talk about the 5 things you would do right away to fix this team going into New England. So just tell everybody what you would do to fix New England. I'll be back in 1 minute, okay?
Okay.
Just give your opinions. All right, thank you.
Okay. Our offensive line is the biggest need of concern right now. Offensive line, we got to get Brown out. Then we go over to Tomlinson. Get that bum out. He's useless. Then we go to center. Center, bring in Tippmann. I mean, I can't believe Titman's on the bench. They said they would put the top 5 in offensive linemen. That's a lie. All Salah does is tell us lies with a smile. He seems like a nice guy, but I don't know any liar who's a nice guy. All right? I mean, the 5 top offensive linemen are not on the field right now. We have to fix this problem fast. Sack, to my amazement, I really didn't like Sack. You know, you heard me with my little chance. I mean, last year everyone laughs at me for liking Streveler, but desperate measures require desperate actions. I mean, you got to get somebody. At least he could scramble and look at last week. Sack was the best rusher. It was amazing. He was the best rusher, and we have Breece Hall. I mean, and you got the right side of the line is great, and they're running to the left side. How stupid is this? I mean, they don't play to their strengths; they go to their weakness, and the opposing team attacks our weaknesses. So you got to make adjustments. It's just simple. I mean, I love watching. I've been watching the Jets since really like 70. I'm 62, but I wasn't really. I watched after Super, but it's just amazing. Just heartbreak after heartbreak. This is supposed to be our time. The only time was our time was when Rex came in, and he brought a fire with him. There's no fire. It's all. I mean, the fire. Unfortunately, I feel the fire went out right before our eyes, and it's sad to see. It's really sad to see the flame of hope. We all as Jets fans have one thing in common. We might have disagreements and this and that, but we all have hope. We all root for the underdog. Look, I even love Streveler. It will last, but I mean, nothing was happening on the offensive line, and now they try to do it, and you got to bench these guys. The 5, like I was saying while you were gone, the 5 best offensive line is nothing but a lie. They're not on the field. Okay, the 3, the center. I mean, McGovern. I can't kill McGovern because he was Mr. Durable last year, but he sucked last week. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for saying bad language, but
No,
he was bad last week. He
was bad.
He was getting plowed over. All right, so you have the ace, your ace, sitting on the bench. All right, and then I mean, to my disbelief, how can you have? I remember the draft. We were all bewildered. They picked McDonald, and you saw JD almost doing backflips. He was so happy with joy. Why is this man sitting on the bench? I can't believe this stuff. This is insanity, complete insanity. The top 2 picks are on the bench, and they need to be on the field. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. And this guy is like the Jets are on the Titanic now, and they
Uh-oh.
like you pointed out in Durant. I mean, that's doing that with Durant about the lifelessness of the line, running to the left instead of to the right. I mean, it's just. I'm sorry, I'm babbling on too much. I'm ranting a little bit too much, but they got to they have to learn how to make the adjustments. They have to. There's no adjustments. Even last year, go back to last year. Yeah, we were killing. I mean, we could have killed the Patriots. And what does Salah do? He just sits there looking. I mean, we don't need no one looking. We need someone to try to win for us. The coach is supposed to help us win. You can't look. You have other quarterbacks on the bench. You see Sack struggling. Pull them. We would have made the playoffs last year. And even stupidly, you have Flacco. Believe it or not, we have a way to beat Buffalo. And what did they do? They didn't even activate. I mean, they put Streveler on the side. If Streveler was there, he wouldn't have fumbled the way he would have ran instead of fumbling Flacco. He would have ran and got something. I mean, I know he's not great at passing and stuff, but at least he moved the ball, even with his legs. To me, he was like Tebow on steroids. I mean, he was just great. And to me, and he brought a spark. Anybody that can bring a spark can start a fire. And the fire's going out very fast. And like playing zone last week, and no adjustments. You just let them eat, dominate the whole game. How could you be a coach and do this? I mean, I can't I don't know how can they be paid to do something stupid like this? I thought Ulbrich turned. I mean, all of us were like questionable about Ulbrich last year, and then he turned around, and then how can he get so foolish like this and just play a zone and blitz a screen? How can you blitz a screenplay? It's going to be out in 2 seconds out of the hand. Why are you sending an extra man there when you have him cover the screen? I don't know. Go take it over, Chaos. Or I'll stay on for later. But you're a great analysis. You're great. I'm just a rookie on the side here, but I am a supporter of you, and thank you for all your input.
No, thank you so much, man. I appreciate all your support. I appreciate you making your first appearance on this show on my channel.
Okay, but let me finish with one. Let me finish with one more rant. We have to do your thing. Just give me a couple minutes about something else. But first, you finish.
Okay, I like what you said about the defense. It's amazing to me that Robert Salah was still insistent that they did the right thing and that this is our brand of football. I've never heard of that in my life. I've never heard of a coach for an NFL team that says basically to the world, we're not going to ever make an adjustment. And if you can figure out how to attack us, just go ahead and do it and have fun and have at it. And we're going to let you just keep doing it. What you said is exactly right. If you see that they're getting rid of the ball fast, then you have to change your approach. We're not going to get there. We're not going to get to the quarterback if they're running their entire offense where every play is just get rid of the ball, screen passes. You have to then have a system that allows you to make an adjustment and say, okay, they're going to the strategy of get rid of the ball, short things, screen passes, and we have to have another scheme in place to prevent and stop that because we're letting them eat our lunch, and it's just not okay. And I don't and it's very hard for me to understand because every other team I've ever watched has made adjustments and comes out and has answers to what another team is doing to them. And we don't have any answers.
Okay, guys. Before I want to get to this other point, but what I open up with because I was babbling a lot here, but think about the first game. Our pride and joy, our franchise quarterback. How long since we had a franchise? I mean, it's been a long, long time for all of us. We only made it to the fourth play, but the first three there was tremendous pressure, and he was getting hit. You don't make an adjustment to protect your franchise, you're a complete imbecile. All right, I'm sorry. And then we get thrown out. I mean, everything fell apart, and it's because of his incompetence. Really think about it. If you were the coach, you saw the guy coming, wouldn't you put somebody over to help out? If you think, I know Brown was good last year, playing the way he did, but you can't hold on to something. You got to put your best man on the field. Okay, I know he didn't really practice, but you see it's not working on the first play. You see it's not working on it. So it's like strike three, and then you go for the fourth strike, and our franchise quarterback is out for the year. Okay, it was horrendous. It was horrendous. I mean, that's Salah's fault. And we can even, all right, Salah's more defensively minded, but he wasn't last week. Okay, this is Aaron's good friend. This other knucklehead that isn't doing much more for us than LaFleur. Damn, I forget the idiot's name. The new offensive coordinator, Hackett.
Hackett, yeah.
He should have made adjustments immediately to protect his friend. All right, he should have made adjustments to get him protected. This should have been. The coaches need to react. They need to react to the game. They're not doing it. They're absolutely not doing. This is our problem. Buffalo, we were shooting. I mean, we were thinking about Buffalo. We're unstoppable, but we got hit. The Cowboys hit us. right from.
I think the real question is what you're saying is, the game started. That first game against the Bills started with a great Breece Hall run, right, where he ran for like 25 yards. We then followed that up, even though we just did this running play that got 25 yards, that worked, it was effective. We then followed that up with 4 straight passing plays, even though In the three before the injury, they were getting right to Aaron Rodgers. They were going right through our guys. They were putting him in extreme danger. Why did we? I would have after the second pass play said, "Oh my God, we got to get right back to the run." Or probably after the first pass play would have said, "Oh my God, that was awful. The running play really worked. Let's stick to that and make them stop that before we pass again." 4 plays in a row, Hackett passed until Aaron Rodgers got hurt. That's the reality.
Okay, but Hackett needs to be held accountable for his stupidity by not protecting our franchise quarterback. That's what I'm saying. He saw the problem. He saw him getting pressured, and he just let it come. He'll figure it out. That's in Hackett's mind, probably. He got mauled. He got out. Our franchise quarterback went down. We finally get one. Within minutes, gone. Terrible. It's just terrible. No one's really talking about that, but sometimes I think a little bit too much. But I could be wrong with the way I'm thinking. But there's no adjustments being made by the coaching staff, in my opinion. And this is a downfall of our organization. Okay, and then my last rant that I wanted to get to a little bit was, I know JD has been a tremendous GM for us, but Cook signing was the worst signing, one of the worst. The other ones you pointed out were accidents. Tomlinson, complete bust. All right, we were desperate with Brown. Okay, those two, we didn't need Cook. We need offensive line help. We know we need offensive line help, and that wasn't thoroughly treated. I mean, in my opinion, the offensive line help. I mean, we have somebody right now. I guarantee you, even though we saw little sprinkles of him in preseason, I think this guy is going to be a steal of the draft if they use him. But this is like another idiotic move by Salah. You got like I said, the first 2 picks not being used. You get this kid McDonald in here. He might be the premier rusher that we have sitting on the bench, and Tippmann will be somebody that can bulldoze people, protect. I mean, sitting on the bench is just complete stupidity. How do you fix stupid? It's hard. No doctor can. We try, but they got to make the adjustments. At least make the adjustments to make the team better, right?
Yeah. And we're going to see how long it takes. And, with New England coming up, it's like it's got to be sooner than later. We can't survive like this. We can't come out and have the offensive line play the way they played and win. We can't win if they play.
Unfortunately, Salah's probably going to put out the same offensive line. If I was a betting man, I bet you 10-1 because he just has this little plan to do and follow. I mean, he doesn't make the changes, and it's going to be a bloodbath. And then Sack's going to go get hit next. Sack's going to be out. Then what do we do? Okay, they don't even have who's the quarterback? One of these guys, get Wentz in, get somebody in. You got to get somebody in. Did they get anyone in? No. So this is beyond Salah. This is like even, I know JD's been good, but he needs to get a quarterback because Sack is small. He ain't going to be able to make it with all these hits. They don't make no adjustments with the offensive line. He's going to be a punching bag. He's just going to break.
And our emergency quarterback right now, it's not even Streveler. Our emergency quarterback, if Zach was to get hurt and Boyle comes in, the quarterback that's waiting to come in if Boyle gets hurt is Surratt, the linebacker.
So like I'm saying, the Jets don't have no plan to win, as you can see. They don't. Where's their plan to win? When they sign, get Colt McCoy, get one of these free agents. Don't trade up for Cousins. This is the thing. They ever since Tannenbaum, trade for this, trade. No, we don't need that. Just get somebody that can win it. But even if you get, let's say you have the only one, if you had Mahomes, he could make escapes. He can work without an offensive line to a degree because his legs. But most quarterbacks will get creamed back there. With this offensive line I think it's one of the worst in the league. And they didn't address it, and they're not correcting it. They're not making adjustments to it. What are they doing with the offensive line? They have better players on the bench, and they're not putting them in. It's sad. It's sickening. And what can we do? Can we go and call up JD? Come on, make adjustments. Maybe he has to override Salah or so. Salah's. I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. I thought Hackett was supposed to. Who makes the decision on offensive line? It should be Hackett, right? He's the offensive coordinator, right?
Yeah, I mean, with the.
I mean, somebody's got to be held accountable.
Yeah. Well, look, the offensive coordinator is everything trickles down. So there's an offensive line coach and the running back coach who can come in and make an argument and say. Quarterback coach too, make an argument. Hey, we need to make a switch on the offensive line. The offensive line coach, obviously is the most powerful voice. Keith Carter, I think his name is. Then it has to be Hackett who says, okay, I think we should do this. They have to go to Robert Saleh. Everything at the end of the day is going to come to Robert Saleh and say, this is the move we're planning to make. Now, but based on the way Robert Saleh delegates, he probably wouldn't get in their way. Like if Hackett came over and said, we are benching McGovern, for example, and we are going to start Joe Tippmann at center. If that was to happen, Salah's not going to stop them. He's not going to get in their way. He's not going to stop them because he doesn't coach like that. Trust his people.
But let me ask you this question to you, Chaos. Who is our less? Salah's not the coach. All right. I mean, in my opinion, maybe the other fans will say he's better, but I don't see it, but can we get Rex back until we find somebody that could? I mean, Rex, at least he worked with the people and communicate. I mean, I don't understand. Like, it seemed like last year, I know LaFleur, he took the blunt and that's why he's gone. There's always, like with the point you were bringing up, someone has to answer. So LaFleur got it and thrown out. But he wasn't a great coordinator either. He did what he did. Like we listened to our friend Greenbean about what he did with Mims and all that. But everyone has their faults, right? But the team needs to get together to win. But how can it if you don't put the best players on the field? This is not what's happening with Salah, and he has to be held responsible for this. I mean, he's not putting. He said out of his mouth, yeah. The best offensive line will be out there, and he lied to us with a smile. So, to me, he's no good.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely have taken a step back. I was a big supporter of Robert Saleh. I'm not completely screaming that we have to fire him yet. I want to see if he makes the adjustments because it's not impossible. Like we might on Sunday find out that there are going to be some changes. We have to wait and see. But if we win, I say nothing. If we lose and he's continuing to go with these five at offensive line and we continue to lose, if we lose and he went with these same five offensive line and he doesn't make a change and they play like crap, I'm going to start to turn on Salah pretty fast, especially if the following week after that against Denver, he comes in with those same five linemen. I'll be calling for his head. I will. I'll be screaming for his head. I'm not at the point at 1-1, 2 games into the season. But what you do say about Rex Ryan is not crazy in the sense that if we were to get another head coach, I'm not saying we should, it would be interesting to give Rex Ryan our defensive line. When you look at the talent of
man. Rex would make it happen. Rex would make it. I mean, Sauce would be another, oh my gosh, forget it. Sauce would be those two cornerbacks, the same one, Revis and Cromartie. Same, it'd be a reincarnation of those two. It'd be no zone, no soft zone the whole game, get eaten up by the screen. None of this craziness. They'd be man to man and come after you. I mean, I don't. It's a fan. We had such a good team still. We had a great team with Rodgers.
Yeah.
And it's just sad to see him knocked out because there was no adjustments made. And when was the last time you seen Salah make any adjustments?
It seems like he picks on the guys that, like young players that he's not afraid of. Like it was like he was very good at benching Mims. He was very good at punishing Mims. Elijah Moore basically left and went home for a week, and he put him right back in the starting lineup. So apparently there were no consequences for him. So I mean, I know Bill Parcells never would have put up with that. Bill Parcells would have benched Elijah Moore for the rest of the season.
All right, but the problem, what I'm saying to you, there's no adjustments in the game. This is the major problem. All right, there's no adjustments to how to handle the opponent in the game. This is why he's terrible. All right, to my eyes, I mean, the players have to win on their own, but they need a coach to coach them to win also, and it's not happening.
Right.
I mean, that's what I'm seeing. I don't know if you're seeing something different. I could be wrong, but
so here's my point to Drug Monkey. Yes, Mims sucked, and he wasn't afraid to bench him, but Dwayne Brown is sucking. Why isn't he being benched? Laken Tomlinson is sucking. Why isn't he being benched? Laken Tomlinson has sucked since we got him over a year already. Why isn't he being benched? My question is not that Mims is good. Is why isn't any veteran player being held accountable? That's my question.
Look, Chaos. Look at this one thing. I bet you if they put Titman in for Tomlinson, it will help out Brown.
Probably
a bit, because he's he's rugged over there, and he wouldn't have to worry about the right side because he has Tomlinson there. He don't have to worry about the left side, so it would really improve him. But they don't even think about making an adjustment like that. Put him over there, then keep. If you want to keep McGovern at center, keep him. But get the best man on the field some way, somehow. You got to do it. You got to get the best. And where's our top one pick? Why isn't he in the field?
Yeah,
that's another insanity thing. And this is Salah. Salah's doing. Why was Brees and Wilson on the bench last year? This is beyond stupid. This is like an imbecile.
It's interesting because Will McDonald didn't dress because I know they have this stacked defensive line and they need Clemens to play special teams, and I'm all for that. But the question starts becoming: if Carl Lawson is truly better than Will McDonald, which I don't even know if he is at this point, because we've been making excuses for Carl Lawson since he's got here, since his injury. But if it's true, if Carl Lawson is better than Will McDonald right now, and if Bryce Huff is better than him, and if Michael Clemens is more worthwhile to the team, and everybody is better than McDonald is right now, and McDonald is really good, but he's stuck behind all these good players, the question starts to become, then why did we draft him? Why did we draft such a low? Now, I love Will McDonald, don't get me wrong, but the question becomes, for a team that needs to win now, for a team that was all set up to win now, why did we use our 15th pick of the draft to draft a guy that had no chance of playing because we drafted at the position where we were already so stacked? Like, why did we do that? Why didn't we draft the best guard that was available? Why didn't we trade down and draft a guard, or and then trade Titman and then pick Titman also and really build our offensive lineup? Like, what was the point of taking McDonald if he's going to sit all year and be inactive and not suit up? It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, especially last week, we were on defense was on the field for over 40 minutes. I mean, if they took out one other player to let him be on, and he would be fresh to freshness of the defense over there, and see what we have there. We're not even seeing our pride and joy that we were selected. We're not seeing it. This is unbelievable. Those two players, I think, are two special players that are not even given an opportunity to play. And this is not anyone else but Salah's fault. I don't know. Am I wrong or not? I don't know. You're the analyst. I'm just a little fan watching you.
Well, I'm just a fan too, but that's the way it appears right now. Right now it appears that way. Like, I want to hope that he's going to make the right decisions and do it. I'm going to want to hope that he proves us wrong, and that at the end of the day, it's the right thing. And we're going to, the game was just, a bad week for us, and we're going to come out. We're going to win the next 2 weeks. and then we're going to take one of the two games against the Eagles and the Chiefs, and we're going to be 4-2. I want to believe that, and then I'll shut up because I never complain if we're winning. If we're winning, we're winning. I can't criticize the coach. But if he's going to make these questionable moves and we're losing, then I'm going to open my mouth, right? So what it really comes down to is how we do the next 2 weeks. How do we do against New England this week? If we lose and McDonald's not dressed and Tippmann's not playing, yeah, I mean, at some point, it's not going to be just me or you. It's going to be everyone that starts to wonder what the hell's going on here.
And we even look at you put up the point before yesterday in your rant, and you're so right on. You got Rutgers from last year blocking much better than these other two busts. I mean, they're borderline busts. These tight ends that we got. Conklin was dropping almost everything thrown to him last year until he started to learn how to catch again. But you got him sitting behind them, and he could have been there protecting or getting into the field. And then you have this rocket that we don't even see, Hardman. What did he do? Have a couple of plays last week because he opened his mouth a little upset the first week? I mean, and the sad thing is whatever we get for until we fix the offensive line, which is simple to fix. You and me can fix it right now. Get at least two, the two off on the left. Brown and Tomlinson. Put in two. I bet you it'll be 70% better. Get those two guys out. 70%. I mean, to have that much more protection to protect the quarterback. You can't have no quarterback coming in with these guys not even protecting. I mean, Tomlinson can't play no more. He needs to be a bench player. You know. We paid him all this money, but he has to learn how to play or something. But he's not doing it. He never played for us. Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Maybe I lost you.
I hit the mute button by accident. Okay. So maybe I don't know, and I might be proven wrong, and this might be a foolish thing to say, but if it was up to me, if it was my call, what I would do. I wouldn't be able to fix this offensive line completely because we have too many players playing like crap right now. But what I would do,
you'd make it better. You'd make it better. I guarantee that by trying, you'd make it better. Right. You're making an attempt to make it. They're not doing a damn thing there. That's the problem.
What I would do is I would move Becton to left tackle.
Amen.
I would put Joe Tippmann in for Laken Tomlinson. I would keep Connor McGovern there because I have no choice. And other than last week, he's been okay. So I give him another chance because he had one horrible game against a very good team. I replace AVT with what's his face? Schwartzer.
Okay.
At right guard, we have no choice. We would have to do that. So you'd have.
One thing I want to ask you about. The only thing I'm worried about with AVT because he's moving around all these positions. He got injured on us last year. Maybe we should keep him at guard unless only for emergency to go to the right tackle. You know what I'm saying?
You mean AVT to right tackle?
No. I wouldn't put AVT at right tackle because he's really a guard.
Right, but so you put Turner in there? You'd put Turner in at right tackle.
Anyone's better than what we have there. Or not the kid we had, Mitchell last year. I'd put him. I would go with Mitchell because I would rather try to save AVT because he got injured last year because he was like all over the place. I'd rather just try to keep him at his position.
Okay, and that's the second option for me. The second option is you replace Laken Tomlinson with Joe Tippmann. You move Becton over to left tackle, and you bring in either Turner or Mitchell, whoever's better. Because Max Mitchell didn't look very good in camp because he, maybe he's never really recovered from his, blood clots. But the point is, I think that's my second plan, right? I mean, it's one of those two. But at least what we're talking about at least gives Zack Wilson a left tackle who's been playing at a respectable level. It puts in Joe Tippmann, who can't be worse than Laken Tomlinson, and he looked a lot better in camp. It gives us Connor McGovern, your middle of the road center. It is what it is. You have a great Pro Bowl, guard in AVT, and then your weaknesses at right tackle. Fine, but maybe Turner could play good enough just to hold down the fort. But at least the rest of our line has the potential to be solid.
Yeah, and the left tackle, that's the blind side, and then Hackett, you can run to the left now. Don't run to the left when you have the weakest guys out there. You run. I mean, how can you be an offensive coordinator? You're running to the weakest point. You run to the strongest where your strength is. I mean, I don't know, but this would be a drastic improvement. You have Sack's blind side protected now. All right. He's not up. And then he could probably stay in the pocket, and then he could develop. He actually played. I'm shocked. He played good last week. I mean, then he had to go to the hero ball. Then he messed up. But he really did. He was our best running back last week because of all this craziness. But he made drastic improvements last week.
There's no question there were improvements. I don't care about the interceptions at the end because we were pressing. We were pressing. The game was over. He was just chucking the ball. I mean, doing whatever, trying to make something happen. It really isn't a sample of the way we're going to play New England. He's not going to be pressing the ball and just chucking it up, obviously. So if you look at Zack Wilson, the first 3 quarters of that game against Dallas, against a really, with obviously a horrendously bad offensive line, a really bad offensive line against against Dallas. I mean, he was going up against a horrifically bad offensive line. He really didn't play that bad. He did everything he could possibly.
He played great to me. I think he played great. Considering that offensive line, he was sensational. And I'm not, in no ways am I a sack truther. You know who I was rooting for, so I'm not a sack truther. But he really stepped up. He really stepped up, and he just tried some way somehow to win the game. So. That's hard. That's good. That's a good thing. So he got 3 picks. It's okay. But he tried. He tried to make something happen out of nothing because there was nothing protecting him. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I have no complaints about Zack Wilson's play last week. Of course, I don't have any complaints about his play against Buffalo. I'm not saying I feel great about the fact that he's our quarterback, but I'm not going to take away credit from the kid because the kid – right now, so far, has done as much as we can ask him to do.
But now, why isn't JD trying to get somebody off the scrap heap to come in that can at least? I mean, I'm not saying Flacco. We're not that desperate, but just to get somebody to back up if we can fix this. The big question is to fix this line and fix it now. Make the adjustments, fix it now, and go with it. And get somebody to back up because. Right now, outside of Sack, it doesn't look good at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's look, I don't know what quarterback would have looked good or done anything different in that situation. Like I can't imagine any quarterback being in that situation except for maybe you'd have to name the best players like Patrick Mahomes or,
right.
But even I don't even know what he would have done in that situation. I mean, he would have been running for his life, the same way. I don't know what he could have done. Maybe there was some bad passes. Maybe there was some mistakes Zach made, some passes that could have been thrown better that Mahomes would make, but it wouldn't have changed the outcome of the game. Like no quarterback was going to change the outcome of the game. If you want to change the outcome of that game, obviously our defense would have had to get off the field on 3rd down. But if you want to change the results of that game from the offensive perspective, it's the offensive line that would have needed to be replaced. That's what had to have been changed. If we would have had an offensive line in that game, it's a totally different football game. Not
Chaos. Is there any way you can make a 911 call? Can you make a 911 call to Joe Douglas about this offensive line change, please, to give us a chance?
Our biggest
any type of chance.
Look, our biggest problem, and Joe Campione nailed it, is it's not fixable completely, right? It goes back to, and to be fair, to be fair to you and me, Tony, we didn't say it was fixable. We said we could make it better. We said we
That's
could
it.
try to improve it and make it better. But
if we make it better, we make us better, right? Yeah. If we get it better, better can, something bad to mediocre to better, whatever, as long as you're improving. We were supposed to be in the big game this year, but we can still get to the playoffs if we can fix this, make the better offensive line. I really think so. But we got to protect Zach right now. The idea is to protect Zach. Otherwise, we're not going to win another game, I don't think.
Yeah, look, he's a god-awful quarterback when he's under pressure, but he's actually a really good quarterback when he's not. Like, if we found a way to give him time, he'd actually be an effective quarterback. The numbers prove it. He's actually very effective on plays where he's given time. And I'm not saying a quarterback should have to rely only on that, but it would be nice if the kid got the opportunity once for the world to see what he could do if he had an offensive line that could protect him for an entire football game.
Yeah, because it's not fair because a lot of us we see we don't really see the whole picture, but he has nothing working in his favor. He can't even have time to get to his receiver. I mean, he threw a great pass to Wilson. He had a little bit of time, but
how much? He has a little bit of time.
Does he get? He doesn't get. It ain't like before when somehow offensive line was better. I mean, time is the key. And he needs a little bit of time to make us win.
If he would have had a couple of hundredths of a second longer, he would have had that second touchdown. But the guy tipped it. I mean, if it would have had just a tiny bit longer, I mean, it was such bad luck that the guy just happened to get his handbook and just hit the ball. If that guy doesn't get it, it doesn't hit that ball. It's a touchdown, and Garrett Wilson has a second touchdown. I'm not, again, maybe not enough to win the game, but it certainly would have helped Zach's confidence and everybody else.
So if we made the offensive adjustments, he would have had that time to do it. So it's just adjustments. Adjustments have to be made, but they're not doing it. It's right. Going back from the original rant, they're not doing it. They're staying with the same people, like you said yesterday in your rant. Which is so right on. They're staying with the same ones, and they're not doing nothing. I do believe if Tippmann was the guard next to Brown would be a lot better. But they're not, because he has no help from Tomlinson. Tomlinson's helpless.
He has definitely not lived up to his contract. We could say that for sure. That's why I made that video that he's the biggest liability, because it's one thing to think and not play well, but to take up.
Do you think that?
Yeah.
Do you think that Tom Brown worse than the way he's playing because he's not? There's no support. They're supposed to be connected, but there's no connection going on. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's the reason why Brown isn't playing good because of Tomlinson. I don't know.
Well,
but there has to be some effect.
Honestly, in the game with Dallas, Dwayne Brown was a lot worse than Laken Tomlinson, Tomlinson actually had some okay reps, but he had a lot of bad reps. So Tomlinson's problem last week was it wasn't that he was bad the whole game every play. It was that he had some really bad reps, and then he had some good reps like blocking for the run. Not so much, but he was actually had some better reps. But the problem is with Tomlinson is he had really bad reps, and he was horrible last year, and he was horrible against Buffalo. So he's taking up $20 million in salary cap, which is the worst part of the whole thing. Because imagine what we could be getting. Imagine who we could have paid and gotten on this team for $20 million to play guard for. Right.
You pointed out that guy that you pointed out that guy that we let go, who's on the Dallas. We had that guy on. I forget his name yesterday. In yesterday's rant, we let him go a couple years ago, and he's playing much better for them as guard, right? Uboga or whatever. I don't remember his name.
Yeah. Well, Udoga was a backup tackle for us, And it's funny because Green Bean said we should try him out at guard. He used to yell that, say, why don't we use this kid at guard? He's able to play guard. He has the size to play guard and, and the speed to play guard. And they never gave him the opportunity. He goes to Dallas. They switch him to guard and make him a versatile player. He comes into the game and he's better. He definitely played better than Lakin. Or as good as Lakin, and he's $1 million player. He cost $1 million.
See, this is the bottom line problem that we have. We don't know how to utilize our talent. You have talent, you let it go, and then you overpay for people that are worse. I mean, I don't know. You don't know what you have. You can't analyze the talent and see what you have. You have to be a superstar in order to stay on the team. I just don't understand it. How that could happen? How could we've needed offensive linemen all time? We let the guy go. This is terrible.
Yeah. And it's funny because a lot of us didn't want to give up on him. He was a developmental player. They give up on him, and then we watch him beat us and help the other team beat us. That's basically what happened. They had the depth at line. They were able to bring in a guy that was able to get the job done, and our starters couldn't get the job done. And what I don't understand is our offensive line goes up against our defensive line every day in practice. So Salah's acting like we've never seen a good defensive line before. He's sitting there shrugging his shoulders saying Dallas is a good defensive line. Well, our guys are supposed to be prepared for that. Don't they practice against a good defensive line every single day?
That's a point I totally forgot. I mean, so they've seen this, but they knew what would happen before this. So this makes them more responsible for what happened to Rodgers to a degree. I mean, right. He was our franchise. I can't believe this happened to us.
Unbelievable.
They knew you don't give them no protection, especially when you see the pressure on them. You don't make an adjustment and put someone there to help protect them. And this is insane.
If somebody would have told me that he'd be out by the fourth rep, offensive play or whatever, fifth offensive play, I wouldn't have believed it. I would have said, I would have laughed and said that's a joke, that's just a punchline to a joke.
We knew that this was our year, and then it was just taken right out of our hands. It's just sad.
Yeah.
But we gotta try to make what we have and make it work. But they're not even doing that. This is my frustration, and it's all our frustration. They're not making the damn adjustments. I'm sorry to say, but they're not making the adjustments, that they need to make.
You're absolutely right. They have to make those adjustments. They have to try. You have to try. You have to do something different. You can't. We all know the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Yeah, it's like let's say they're playing the Patriots and say Mac Jones is. Let's say he's going to be throwing bombs. Like they see him throw at the first 10 plays, you see him throw 4 bombs. All right, you might give some more cover help back there. All right, you make that adjustment. You're just going to not do nothing and just keep your plan in going. If the plan's not working, you got to change it. Yeah. Plans need to change in life. Our plans change. We make hundreds of decisions every day. We got to make changes. Why isn't he making changes? This is like you said, insanity. Why? I don't know. I'm sorry for I keep on going back to the same thing, but it's just so frustrating. Maybe you have any viewers coming in to talk up the show, but it was just such a pleasure. I don't know, confused. I said, let me hit this thing, but I got on. This is unbelievable. It's a little thing in there. And the other guys stole the line and be in Hollywood like me,
Well, look, I'm glad you came on. Where are you, by the way? I definitely hear the crickets, so I know you're out in the suburbs somewhere in the country.
Yeah, I'm in Long Island. I'm in Shirley, New York, Suffolk County.
Okay, so you got some wild trees around and stuff.
Yeah, I have a little overhang. I have a nice patio set up out here, so I just got my little lights on out here somewhere. I don't know if you see. I just like to go out and enjoy until it gets too cold.
I love it. I love it. Do you go to do you ever go to games? Are you going to any games this year?
No, I never. I just watch it on TV. It's just
Yeah, no.
It's just cheaper that way. I'm just I'm like retirement mode now and stuff, and just sit back and get entertained by you guys, you and Green Bean. So I like I enjoy your show so much. And like yesterday's show was awesome. I mean, you got it right down to the root of the problem, but I wish there was somebody that can get these type of things over there, some of your broadcast over there to make the adjustments. How hard is it to make an adjustment? It's not a hard thing.
No,
Right?
it's really not that hard to at least try and do something different. And let's hope. Let's hope. We don't know who's active this week. We don't know who he's going to bring in. We don't know who's going to start for sure yet. He hasn't announced anything. He hasn't said one way or the other if he's going to make any changes. So let's find out. Let's find out.
But yeah, what I thought JD used to be an offensive lineman, right?
Well, that's supposed to be his expertise, is the offensive line.
So JD has to come down there and make the change. All right, tell JD to make this thing happen. Put the best men on the field, please.
Yeah.
Put your draft picks on the field.
Yeah.
Throw Cook on the bench and let's unleash Izzy, Tom. All right. I think Izzy's going to be dynamic, but we don't need someone to hold on. Hopefully, I didn't see him fumble in the preseason, but I think he's going to be. I think he's. We have talent that's not being used. This is so sad. This is so sad. We sign people we really don't need. And why are we doing this? I don't understand it.
Yeah.
I really don't. And the ones we have that can play good, you stay right there, down, boy, down. Oh, let them roll, boys. Keep it going. It's just crazy,
Yep. Well, hopefully we're going to see some changes. I'm hoping for it. We need to beat New England, so let's just hope we beat New England. And hey, thanks for coming on, man. It was great to meet you face to face to see who you are. You've been a great supporter of the channel. Really appreciate you. And we'll do call-ins again. If you ever want to call back in, I encourage you to do it. Okay.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you, Chaos. It was a pleasure.
Take care, my friend.
Hello, Jet Nation. All right.
Bye-bye. That was Tony Alexio. You saw him, you met him, you've all seen him in the chat for all this time. Well, now you got to meet him, you got to see Tony. And it all started with the Strevler package. And some people were getting all upset and thinking he was a troll and all that. And I said, well, wait a second. He's actually really funny. He seems like a nice guy. And now you see he's just a passionate Jet fan like the rest of us. And hey, man, you can't really lie. When you watch that one game, Strevler got to come into the game. I will say this. While he might not have been the best passing quarterback, and we may have seen some flaws in his ability to throw the ball, he certainly ignited that game and gave us the most exciting part of the game. The only time that game ever looked like there was a chance for us after the first quarter was, Strevler time. There was a moment where it looked like there was a chance we can get back in the game. So, and yeah, we all love Strevler. Maybe we don't, he's not our ideal quarterback and the guy we want to see, playing per se, but that has nothing to do with the fact that we all love Strevler. We all love the guy. We love the heart, right? We love the man and the heart and the passion he plays with. So, at least there's that. At least he's a great, likable player. And, I really appreciate Tony's loyalty and support of the channel. It's really cool. I appreciate everybody that's here listening and watching right now, and I appreciate your support of the channel. So, but at the end of the day, with all these complaints and everything that we're feeling, and right now with this team, the frustration, the confusion, the not understanding why we don't do this or why we do that. Remember that what it really comes down to is what is the what is the main goal? We have to beat New England, because nothing cures all of these problems and all of these complaints and all of these rants as much as just winning. I mean, the other thing is that he does everything I'm screaming he should do, and we get blown out. That'll shut me up. But other than that, it's just win. Go out there on Sunday and beat New England at home. The defense needs to show up angry and mad. I don't care if they're 0-2 and they're desperate for a win. It doesn't matter. Because if both teams played at their full potential and both teams are fired up, we should win because we're better. We are. I've watched football enough to know that we're better than the Patriots. I'm not saying they suck and that we're 50,000 times better, but we're better. And if anybody wants a challenge, I'll take that Pepsi challenge any day of the week that we're better. Let's go room for room. Let's rate the teams. I want somebody to prove to me or show me how we're not better than them other than potentially the coach. And that's my biggest fear when I think about the game. Yes, there's a little bit of worry about Zack Wilson. I'm not going to lie. There's concern about Zack Wilson. But the biggest concern I have going into that game is our coach and our offensive coordinator. That's my biggest concern. I mean, based on what we've seen so far, that's my concern. That my concern is that we're going to lose the game on Sunday because of our coaching, because that we're going to just simply be outcoached. That's my fear. That's what I'm worried is going to happen. It's just that simple. So, what does that mean? That means that I'm questioning our coaching staff right now, and I just want them to prove to me that I'm wrong. I want to be wrong. I want Salah to be a guy who ends up winning Super Bowls, ends up being one of the great coaches. He's a great coach that's here for 20 years, not like Belichick, who was here and then left, and that, or was with Cleveland and then left and went to New England. Not Pete Carroll, who went and won the Super Bowl Seattle. I'm talking about doing it for us. No more sending winners to other places. That's what I want to happen. And I'll eat every word or every negative question I threw out at the guy. I will, happily. Please. I will happily hand in my receipts. I'll definitely provide receipts. Just freaking win. Win. Get us back on track. Find a way. I don't care what you have to do. Find a game plan. Search every play you have in the playbook. Put together a playbook that's going to help us beat them, assuming they're going to stack the box. And then have a bunch of plays and a strategy of what we're going to do if they adjust. Because unlike us, they might do that. They might adjust. And then understand what our attack is going to be. And that's the simple attack. They adjust and move guys outside the box because they're not stopping Zack Wilson, and he's actually hitting our wide receivers and our tight ends, and we have a really good passing game. And they have to make the adjustment to stop that. Then it's Breece Hall all day, baby, especially if we have the lead. I mean, if they stack the box and we get a couple of big plays downfield and we score some touchdowns and we get ahead of them, and let's say we're winning 17-3, 17-7, whatever it is, and we go into that second half, and they make the adjustment and suddenly they're covering and double covering and they're pulling their safeties back, if that happens, thank you very much. Breece Hall all day long. Not Dalvin Cook all day long. Breece Hall all day long. It's really that simple, in my opinion. And if that strategy was what they use and it doesn't work, then fine. I'll be pissed. I'll be upset. I'll be brokenhearted, but at least I'll know they tried. At least I'll know they used some common sense. And now finally, it's about time. My ugly co-host, Nick Shine.
It's good to see you too, pal. How are you? You need a drink? You've been talking a lot. You need a drink? You need a little refreshment?
Provide some insight for our audience.
I have nothing to say, Jeremy. I want to hear more of what you have to say.
I think in the last 24 hours, I've shared plenty of what I want to say.
I think Coach Salah said it perfectly. I might not nail the quote, but I typed it out and shared it on Twitter yesterday. Last week wasn't the Super Bowl. This week isn't the apocalypse. I know in this market it seems like that, but it's not. Do you know what that means? Hey, fans. Hey, media. Calm the fuck down. That's Salah in a very political way saying, hey, everybody, you're not winning the Super Bowl week 1. Your season's not ending in week 2. Calm down.
Could end in week 3, though.
It still doesn't. We were 1-4 one year and we made the playoffs. There's listen, you're going to win games, you're going to lose games. Dallas is a very good team on clicking on all cylinders right now. Are they as good as they've looked the first 2 weeks? I don't think so. Are we as bad as we looked last week? I don't think so. That's a very good defensive front. That's what we're building, right? That's why we draft JJ last year. It's why we draft McDonald this year. It's why we have Quinn in and we gave him the extension. We're trying to build that. Kudos to Dallas coaching staff. Very good game plan. Hurry up, not a hurry up offense, but a speed huddle to prevent us from rotating our D linemen. And you saw the difference in Buffalo against, not in Buffalo, but against Buffalo. We were able to rotate our guys, stay fresh, and keep bringing new, fresh bodies to Josh Allen. I think Dallas had a great game plan. I think we need to defensively figure out a rotation quicker. I think we need to know the subs going in before the play happens. So as soon as that play is over, guys are getting off the field, guys are going on. We're not waiting to see what they do with their subs. So enough about the Dallas game. It went as bad as it could go, right? And we still had chances. JFM doesn't get that bogus that the league said today was a pass or roughing the passer. They don't get those 8 points. You take 5 off the board there. Sauce catches that pick 6. Now all of a sudden you're in an even game, right? As bad as we were dominated in time of possession, as bad as we were dominated, a bad call turns in field goal. You take 5 points off. That's 25 now they're at, right? Because they went for 2 on that. And then Sauce takes that pick 6. That's 7 for us. We're at 17. And then you take another 7 off for them. So it's a 17-18 game. And now Zach doesn't have to chuck up passes in the fourth quarter trying to create something. Because the uneducated fan will scream and yell, oh, he threw 3 interceptions in the fourth quarter. Yeah, because we were down 20 points and he was trying to create something, a pass interference, a tipped ball that we catch and we break away with. You got to try at that point. Like, you got to create things. You got to go outside the realm of normalcy and create. All right, I'm eating dinner too. Spinach, chicken, and cheese with a little Italian dressing. What's up, guys? Hi, everyone in the chat. I was at the doctor. Yes, 7:40 doctor appointment in New Jersey. It's wild. So, looking ahead, we saw it last year twice. Our defense is built to stifle Josh Allen. It's built to stifle Mac Jones. Their offense didn't have their way with us last year. Zack Wilson scored as many points as Mac Jones until the punt return. They were both at 3. It was a 3-3 game. So seconds left in the game. So it's not like Mac Jones is Dan Marino putting 50 points up on us in the 80s. The game here, we beat them if that bogus JFM roughing the passer, ironically, isn't called. We had the pick 6. We win that game too. So it's this game will be a toss-up. This game will come out to who makes the other team make a mistake at the right time. I hate to say this because I hate going into a game with this mentality, but we don't have a quarterback or a coaching staff that demands the respect of the officials. We were going to have that with Aaron Rodgers, and now we're back to where we were last year. Zach gets pummeled by Milano. Nothing. Shoulder shot to the head. Nothing. Zach Wilson got hit below the knees in a sack the other day. Guy rolled over, rolled on his ankle, took him down. Why is that not roughing? If JFM got flagged for hitting him low when his face mask hit the hip, How is rolling into a guy and rolling up on his leg not a roughing the passer or an illegal hit below the knee? So there's a lot of frustrating things. But if you go out and you man up 11 on 11 and you kick the crap out of the guy in front of you, none of it matters, right? Go out there, win your matchup one-on-one, and at the end of the game, you should have more points than the other team. I'd like to roll over the carries. If you had Breece Hall on a pitch count and he had 10 carries week 1, he's supposed to have 12 week 2, I would like to carry those 8 he didn't get last week into this week where he's at 20 now.
We have a
if you got me on a pitch count and it's 10 a game, I'm getting 18 carries this game because you didn't use me for them last week.
Doesn't it work that way in Little League?
It does. It does. If you don't pitch, you can carry your innings over. Yes. Yes. So
I at this point I'm failing to understand why he has a pitch count at all. Like, in other words, is there any truth? Is there a medical thing that if you use the knee a lot, it has now more of a chance of being re-injured? Like, does something happen after 10 carries, 12 carries, where now it's worn down and weaker? Like, I don't understand.
No.
What's the point of a pitch count?
Here is. There's a difference from being in shape and being in game shape. And when he ran out of gas in Buffalo, that's why. When you're tired and you're not in game shape yet, that's when you're more susceptible to muscle tears and rips when your body isn't at that point. You can make the argument they should have pupped them if that's the case, right?
No.
But we don't.
I'd rather have him for 10, 12 carries a game than not have him.
But that's why you have him. That's why he's on the pitch count is, when I've snapped both of my biceps in 2012 and 2014 in July doing cable work outside, the heat, dehydration, and snap. So you take he's a big commodity. He's a big asset. You don't want to lose him in September. So I hate the expression, but you treat him with kid gloves and you let him. You'll know. We said it all off season. At least I did. We'll know when Breece is Breece. Getting caught in the Buffalo game, Breece isn't Breece. He's great, but I think they went away from him in the Dallas game because they're like, we're not blocking. We're not going to put him out there to get rolled up on and take a hit because they were blowing us back off the line.
It's almost like they said, this is not a conference game. It's an out-of-conference game. We're in Dallas. There's a good chance we're going to lose anyway. Let's just protect the player because we're going to need him a lot more later. There is a chance that they said that.
Yeah. I mean, you go in with the game plan, and part of the plan is the backup plan too. And if this game gets out of hand or we can't get anything going on the ground, let's just live to play another week, right? There has to be that discussion too. Because if he's not 100% and he's not fully in game shape, you have to protect him from himself. Salah said it after week 1. He came up to him in the Buffalo game, third quarter, said, if you need me for more, I can go. And Salah said in the press conference, this is why we protect the player from the player, because of course they're going to want to go, right?
Mm-hmm. So what do you think about Will McDonald not dressing last week? How does that does it affect like and there's two approaches here because it's not just one answer because some people think they understand why he didn't dress based on the roster that we have. But then the question for some people comes, if that's the case, why did we draft him? If we're so strong at the position, what was the point of drafting him if he can't even make the squad, even if he's good?
Which I think is an awful take. Huh? I think that's an awful take. I really do. Because Lawson will be done after this year.
Right.
Lawson will be done after this year. Huff will be done after this year.
Or weren't we pushing our chips in for win now?
Because you still have to win now with an eye down the road.
Okay, I don't argue that.
Lawson and Huff can both be gone after this year. I would rather have McDonald on year 2 than a rookie next year coming in and having to play minutes he's not ready for. This is what good teams do, and this is the beginning of it for us, something we're not accustomed to. We're used to drafting guys and labeling them our savior in the last weekend of April because we need a savior. This is the part of a good team, letting guys go and replenishing. This is the first we're seeing with it. with McDonald and Tittman.
And Izzy.
Yeah. These are guys who are going to develop and move into roles. Sure, we took him in the first round, but in a game that you thought would be more physical up front, Lawson's a smarter play. But I can't see in this week going against New England with Mac Jones a sitting duck. I want speed. I want McDonald coming off the edge with Huff and JJ. I want those guys getting to Mac Jones, who's not very mobile. So I don't know what. Maybe you take the kid with the linebacker 52, the special teamer who made it. Right. I would take him off and I would put McDonald in.
Yeah, I mean,
I forget his name. Forgive me.
I know I can't say his name.
I know it's not an easy name to say either. So you guys know what I'm talking about.
I know who you're talking about. I mean, I think the challenge is that, I mean, the reality is that in both weeks so far, we sat and we didn't dress a defensive lineman. So it makes me believe that their strategy is going to be 9 every week and 1 sits unless there's an injury. That's the feeling I get, is that they're going to sit 1 every week. Now, are they going to really inactivate Carl Lawson? That's very hard to believe. Very hard to believe.
We're good enough now where it's put up or shut up. That D-line is good enough. And if you're not doing your job and you're not pulling your weight, I think that the staff is going to say, hey, we need more from you. Whether you're not right or you're not doing your job, we need more from you.
Yeah. I mean, it would be interesting because they haven't done that in other areas. Like if they started not dressing Lawson and saying, well, McDonald's playing better, then why are they playing more reps to CJ Uzomah than Jeremy Ruckert? Why is Randall Cobb getting more reps than McCall Hardman? Like, there's a lot of inconsistencies. There's a lot of questions that are going to be asked. If you're willing to do that to Lawson, why aren't you willing to do that to CJ? Because Jeremy Ruckert is clearly a better football player than CJ.
Yeah. I've said it for a year and a half now, and you can attest to this, and I'm sure some of the people in the chat have heard me say it. I think that the Jets had buyer's remorse last offseason signing Conklin and Uzomah.
Yeah.
Because you drafted Ruckert, you drafted Kuntz this year. You had Yeboah, and you're losing guys on roster spots who I think can be more athletic and explosive in the passing game than Uzomah. And you see Ruckert's already a better blocker in the run game than Uzomah. So I wouldn't be surprised. I know he's very well liked, and he's not but close to being a captain type of player with locker room and off the field. But we got to win games here, man, not win popularity contests. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody calls and makes an offer for him and we let him go. I wouldn't mind it whatsoever in any way, shape, or form. Same with Lawson. If Lawson or Uzomah go, I'm okay with that, because now you're giving Ruckert more, you're giving McDonald more, and you're giving JJ more, because JJ deserves to be on that field more than any defensive end that we have, and that includes Franklin Myers.
See, but that's where I don't trust Salah. Like, we can get a great offer for Carl Lawson for someone who has an injury and desperately needs an edge, and they're willing, Lawson's a good kind of guy to go for a team, right? This 1-year rental, and the Jets are so rich at the position. But I worry. I don't trust Salah that he's able to make deals, because he gets too personally connected to these players. Like, he loves him so much that it makes he falls in love with these players, and he gets so attached to them that he's willing to hurt the team, because he can't pull the trigger and make a good trade. Because Carl Lawson is a great trade candidate for us right now if we want to start bulking up some draft capital for next year, or maybe pick up a guard if there's a team that needs an edge that has an extra guard that we like, and then we can move AVT out or another whatever it is.
Yeah.
My worry is that Salah is too attached to these players and is not willing to make moves to better the team because he gets too close to them. Is that a real concern? Do you have that concern?
I don't have that concern, because last year, don't forget, we were 5-2 at the deadline. Maybe 6-3 after the Buffalo game, or 5-3. I forget when the deadline was.
5-2.
We weren't sellers at that point. If anything, we were going to look to add, right?
Yeah.
With Hall and AVT going down. I don't have a concern with that. I think that in the next 6-7 weeks until the deadline, that if you see Ruckert clearly outplaying Uzama, we get a call for him, take him. You see JJ, and then McDonald starts to develop. Don't forget, JJ didn't dress a couple games early last year either, right? So
I think
he was down a couple, I believe. So I don't know. I don't want to paint with a broad brush with it. I think every situation is specific to its own situation. And if McDonald and JJ just start to dominate, I'm moving Lawson if I get a call for him. You know, if we're not playing him, someone will say, hey, you're not playing him. We could use him. We'll give you a 5 or a 6 or whatever, you know, or a conditional 6. Goodbye.
I think it would be a great. I think we have guys to trade to make deals that don't hurt the. It's what you said. When Carl Lawson was injured, we didn't care.
No,
we weren't worried. We were like, okay.
Nobody mentioned it. The only time it got mentioned was me making fun of it, saying nobody's mentioning it, right?
Yeah. So if we took Carl Lawson, you take a guy like CJ Ozoma. You take a guy like who else is there? I mean, those two right there are probably our best trades, like our best trade baits to tempt people.
Yeah,
like that's some pretty good. And then you could throw in like a Bryce Hall, right, into that mix, and you could he's not going to get a lot, but you advertise him as a guy who has a year experience starting. He wasn't terrible in 21. He wasn't terrible. So if you have a team that's desperate, you have a team that's desperate with a lot of injuries at cornerback, he's worth a 6th-round pick for a team to grab him and maybe JD pulls it off and gets a 5th-round pick. Who knows? But the point is we could start doing some things of value for the team that won't hurt the team this year.
Agreed. And when you look at guys like Tippmann, McDonald, listen, they're coming into a team that has a lot of veterans. We have a team where even though they might not be elite all-pro types of guys, they're solid veterans, or at least up at this point they were, right? Brown, McGovern. But Tippmann was drafted to take over for McGovern. Nowhere did it say he had to take over week 1 of his first season or else he's a bust. That's another weak take that I don't like that you hear from fans. We heard it in the last week of July. We heard that. Right now, without Aaron Rodgers, you want to see progression from everybody, and then you want to know who you got going into next season. Let's be realistic. If anything, we'll be some sellers to get some additional picks because we don't have our 2nd-round pick next year with the Rodgers trade. So, you can use some of those if you sell off Azoma for a 6th or Lawson for a 6th or, take those two, for example. You can now package that up to move a 4th with 2 6 to get up into the 3rd if you like another receiver or another offensive lineman falls, right? Like you like a guard. A 3rd round is always a good place to get a guard. So I'm not going to, you know me. And I say this partially tongue-in-cheek, but also to deliver a message to people who go a little nutty. I got real-life shit I'm dealing with. Like I'm not going to try to predict the Jets all season after week 2. I'm not going to try to say guys that we just drafted are busts after week 2. There's a process. Guys will play when they're ready to play. Salah says all the time, you never know when an opportunity comes in this league, right? We don't know what week 3 holds. McDonald can go out and have a 2.5 sack game against Jones because Jones has concrete feet. You don't know. But I don't know. I don't want to give it too much. I don't want to give the panic takes too much airtime, But I think it's a fluid situation. I think it depends on where we're at as a team. I think it depends where we're at, where our backups are at. And if they're evolving and coming into their own, then I'm not against the move.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm not against us bolstering the team either. If we win 2 of the next 3, we beat New England, we beat Denver, and say we lose to Kansas City, we're 3-1 in the AFC and we're 2-0 in the division. Like, where's the panic? We're
One
3-2 and we're 3-1 in the AFC. That's a fantastic situation to be in.
Right. Look, if we win tomorrow, I mean, if we win on Sunday, if we win
You
on
got me all
Sunday,
confused. I got so much shit going on. I'm like, it's Saturday?
if we win on Sunday, that means we're 2-0 in the division. We're 2-1. Then we go in, let's say we're 2-0 in the conference.
And there'll still be people complaining.
Then we go in and let's say we beat Denver, which is very easy to believe if we beat New England. If we could beat New England, we could definitely beat Denver. Denver does not look good. They're not impressive right now. They're not that good, right? We could definitely beat them. We beat them last year, and we're better than we were last year. I know.
He doesn't look good either.
I know. I always thought we matched up well against Kansas City. With Aaron Rodgers, I thought we were going to beat Kansas City. I was convinced.
Agreed.
But now let's say we do beat New England and we beat Denver. And those are games we should win. We have better rosters, even with it being Zack Wilson. If the offensive line could play at any acceptable level, right? We could win those two games. And how do we do it? We have a superstar named Breece Hall. That's how, right? We have a superstar named Garrett Wilson. We have the firepower still to do it. We have stars who can make a difference. If we're 3-1, we're 3-0 in the conference, we're 2-0 in the division. And I think we're feeling pretty good. And that's why I said even a win against New England, and it changes everything. Our entire mood changes. If we beat New England on Sunday and we look good doing it, all these problems, all this pain goes away. I mean, we're never going to get over the pain of losing Aaron for this year until it's next year and we have him back. But all this goes away. And we're talking playoffs again. If we could just win next week, because we're looking ahead and we're saying we could beat Denver. If we beat New England, we're saying we could beat Denver. And if we freaking do that and we win and we beat Denver, then we just got to win either Kansas City or Philly. It'd be very hard. But if we were to somehow scrape up a win in those two games and be 4-2 at the end of the 6 games, that we were going to be happy if that was Aaron Rodgers who got us to that point.
Yeah.
But if we lose to New England, this is why I'm saying it's such an important game. It changes so much in the way you have to look at things.
Yeah. I say it all the time. We have a very large portion of our fan base who's very fickle. You win a game, they think they're going to win every game. You lose a game, they think they're going to lose every game. Like not a lot of people have that mentality. But unfortunately, those are the opinions and takes that get them a lot of airplay, right? The crazy takes always seem to be the ones that we discuss. The logical, normal, common sense takes kind of get lost in the shuffle. I like the microphone. Is that new?
No, I'm just having it displayed differently.
I like your face. Is that new?
I shaved it.
I like it. It looks good. It looks
good.
good.
People either call me Junior from The Sopranos, Dr. Evil. Oh, I think Dr. Evil has no glasses.
There you go. Yep.
My parents had me laminated when I was 8 years old.
Laminated?
Remember he said that? He's telling the shrink about himself, and he goes, when I was 7 years old, my parents had me laminated.
So, like, looking forward to Sunday. Move the pocket. Use Zach's athleticism instead of escape mode like Houdini to create. Get the run game going. Get some bootlegs. Get some rollouts. Move the pocket. I thought the best play that Zach made the other day was the incomplete to Wilson when he rolled out and Diggs went to jump the route and Wilson stepped back and they just mistimed it, right? Because they're not used to it. They'll get that down with reps and communication. But I thought that was a really good play by Zach and reading the defender and throwing to the open shoulder, but unfortunately Garrett slipped on it. So you take that fourth quarter when we had to create something and those 3 interceptions that he threw out of it, he played well considering the line wasn't blocking and there was no run support. He was our leading rusher. You know, you can't win in this league alone. So I think we match up well with New England. I think what Sauce Gardner said it today. He's like, they don't do anything spectacular on offense. There's like no wow. I'm paraphrasing. There's no wow factor to the Patriots on offense. They try to lull you to sleep and wait for you to make a mistake. We play like on defense, like we played in the Buffalo game. They're going to be held to single digits. They're going to be kicking field goals if they don't score a special team or defensive touchdown.
Well, our defense is going to be playing very angry.
Yeah, and you know what? I really hope our fans bring that same energy. I saw a great post today in the New Era, One Team, Our Team on the Facebook group. And the guy said, I got a crazy idea, a crazy concept. What if when Zach comes out, we all cheer him? What if we give him the ovation that we gave Rodgers? What if we just cheered for Zach and encouraged him and maybe helped his mindset instead of feeling that he's the dartboard and the fans are throwing darts at him? What if? But Aaron Rodgers said it the entire offseason. Believing in yourself, having others believe in you. Like Becton, right? Rodgers believed in Becton. That's why Becton decided to, okay, I'll move to right tackle.
Yeah.
There's something that's to be said in this world. There's a human aspect of it, not sports, of that. When people believe in you, you'll believe in yourself more. So I would love to see Zach get a great ovation. If he throws an incomplete pass, punch a Jet fan in the face if they boo him. Don't punch him in the face. Just kind of elbow him in the ribs.
Nick, who is that? I can't see. I can't see the screen. Who is that?
My holy king.
I just wanted to hear you say that.
Oh, is that you?
You have no, but I wanted to hear you say that. It's just because it sounds like you're just saying, hey, that's my holy king.
I'm waiting for the name in the chat to pop up that says my holy toe. Hackett is good for Rodgers, not for Zach. I can't agree with that because the entire playbook was designed and predicated around Rodgers' strengths, and you had to change it in 6 days. So you're not going to overhaul it in 6 days. You know, usually the bye week is when you make your massive changes and you kind of slowly start to put in new plays and new play design and predicate it towards a new quarterback each week. So you don't want to change the whole playbook and guys aren't on the same page. You want to add little by little, just like you add little by little every day in practice and training camp. Unfortunately, they're only on the field 3 times a week. You know, they have most times they're off Tuesday. The game plan gets put in. Wednesday, they're on the field. Thursday on the field. Friday's a walkthrough. So I think fans overreact. We know that with this fan base. There's a large portion that extremely overreact. We can go out there and dominate. Cole Strange cannot block Quinnen Williams or get a first down when he's running with the ball. That was a hell of a play at the end of the New England game, though. That was pretty cool, right? When he lateraled it to the offensive lineman and he almost made it.
That was amazing. I loved it.
That was a fun-looking play. Like, as a guy,
as
a big guy, part of me wanted him to make it.
Me too.
He was clearly short. He was clearly short.
It was hard not to root for him to make it just because it would have kept the game going and be really exciting. You know, like just for the excitement of the game. But I mean, we don't know which team we're rooting for really, because at the end of the year, we don't know. You know, I want what's best for the Jets. I will
always root for the Patriots to lose. I will always root for the Patriots to lose. Jody was with me week 1, and she needed them to win for her pool, and she didn't understand. She thought I was rooting against her, and she got mad at me slightly. And she's here too, hearing me, and I said to her, I go, listen, I will root for Al Qaeda before I root for the New England Patriots. That's how much I hate them. I'm like, I will never root for them. I don't care if it's $1 million. I want to see them lose. I want to see their fans suffer. And I want to see Mac Jones be their quarterback for 15 years. And they have 15 years of misery. Like she told my son, she's like, yeah, your dad was rooting against me last week against the Patriots. Nikki goes, we don't root for the Patriots here.
What I hope is that, Belichick is under 500 now since Brady left. What I hope is that they're super loyal to him. He wants to go for this record because of his ego with Don Shula. My hope is that without Brady, he's garbage and he starts to fall apart. He's getting old. He doesn't have the energy, and that the Patriots fans are stuck with him, even if they're stinking year after year, because he's fighting to get to the record for wins. And that he gets 3 or 4 wins a year, and it takes him 4 or 5 years, and they have a 75-year-old out, limping out there.
There's two people that I tongue-in-cheek say want to die while doing their jobs. John Sterling, the radio announcer for the Yankees, will be on the air until he dies. And Bill Belichick will be on the sideline until he dies. Like, I think that just the two of them cannot let it go.
Right.
I say that as a Yankee fan rocking my Bronx shirt. Like, I just think John Sterling will do games until he can't talk anymore.
But I think that's the way he wants it, so I'll be happy for him.
Yes.
Like, I'll celebrate his life, because
he thinks he's like Harry Carey and God forgive me, the Dodgers announcer. Who's the Dodgers announcer who passed away?
Jesus Christ. I know it. Come on. It's on
Anyone in the chat?
Who's the Dodgers famous guy?
I'm drawing a blank. Vin Scully. Vin Scully, and I got it before anyone popped up in our chat.
Wow, was Scully great, huh?
Yeah,
wow,
but like, yeah, thank you, Jay. I just saw it come in now. So, listen, we're in a good position. We thought we'd have Aaron Rodgers. We got to find a way to get Garrett Wilson the ball more, even if it's quick screens, whatever it is. Little disappointing playing AVT. Very nervous about Judon against Becton and Brown. I'd like to see Ruckert in there chipping. I wouldn't even mind. I mentioned it last week with Borden, right? If you're going 4 wide, give me Ruckert in the backfield so that if Parsons came free, Ruckert could have or Borden step up and level them. Right. Bring the attack to them instead of being on your heels. I don't care. Put Ruckert in the backfield. Let him chip an edge. Let him get, if a guy gets beat, McGovern got beat bad by Parsons, boom, Ruckert steps up and levels him. Be creative. When you're a coach, and I did this in Pop Warner, you have to disguise your weaknesses. You have to self-assess where you're vulnerable, and you have to come up with a plan to counter what they're going to do to you. If they can't do that on the NFL level, that's going to be an issue. So, yeah, I do have to go. I'll make up for it next week. No doctor's appointments next week. I will be here for the full 2.5, 3, whatever we do, coming off of a victory with the Patriots. I apologize today, guys. I was back in the hospital for a little bit and had a follow-up appointment tonight and was very angry. They're like, oh, it's a emergency room or it's a hospital stay follow-up. I go, what? I go, you brought me out of my house at 7:00 at night on a Wednesday to be out for 2 hours on a follow-up? Anything we're talking about now, we could have talked about when I was in the hospital. I'm like, let's get my diabetes medicine changed and fixed. Oh, you have to come back for that. You mother. So, yeah. Angry.
All right, everybody. We'll be back next week. We might be back. Check the time because we might be back at a little bit later time next week. We might move the show. So prepare yourselves for that. It might be 9 p.m., but I'll put the thumbnail up. I'll put it out there a lot sooner, and I'll announce it officially before then on Sunday. So just pay attention to that. It might start a little bit late. I don't know what we're going to do exactly yet. Me and Nick got to talk about it. But Nick, thanks for getting here. I'm glad you're okay. Glad you're doing better. Looking forward to just being able to hang out Monday night on November 6th, knowing that you're okay. So that was best news that I've heard all week, man.
We're getting there.
Huge good news. So just keep getting better. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much for being here, for hanging. Some of you hung in the entire 2 hours with me. So appreciate that. And everybody,
my condolences to those people.
Everybody, we'll see you soon. Take care.
Take care, guys.
Let's go! We need JJ! We want JJ! We want JJ! We want JJ! Let's go!
JJ! We got Johnson! We got Johnson at 26! We got Johnson at 26! This is great!
It is Matt, it is Richie. We are hanging out with the Jets Lounge guys. Richie, my man, how's it going?
Matt, this is sick. We're at the Jets Lounge event in Farmingdale. The main event is what it's called.
We got the entire Rucker family over there.
Jets!